And oh, there they are. I was gonna say they disappeared for a second there.
We're invisible.
I was like, why does this happen? Welcome to a pretty new and interesting Talk Tuesdays, if I do say so myself. One of these guys you know very well. This is Josh from Still Loading Pod. He's here just about every week. The other one,
Can't get rid of me.
the man
Always here.
who hates Whoppers, who hates Burger King the most of anyone I've ever met. No more Whoppers. No, I'm just kidding. This is Ray from No More Whoppers / Bipedal Dog / whatever is more appropriate. Welcome, Ray, and welcome back, Josh.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing your time with us. As always, Josh, and for the first time, Ray, I'm very excited to start to dive back into, because Josh and I talked briefly on our own little special about a particular way that we played Boku no Natsuyasumi 2, which I'm sure we'll get to talking about, but we haven't done a deep dive like we are about to. So I am very grateful for everyone who could be here at this much earlier time than normal on our Talk Tuesdays. I literally just sprung through the door out of work and was just like, oh my god. As I'm saying how I was running around with a chicken with my head cut off, my headphones flew off. I just was whirlwinding
already, Andrew.
I know, I was whirlwinding around the house just getting set up. But we are here, and I have lost the thread.
I keep trying to come up with a pun with Boku no Natsuyasumi and Talk Tuesday, like Boku no Toksu Tuesday, but nothing's working really well.
I think when we did it last time, my video title was Boku no Chatsu Yasumi, because we were chatting about it for Talk Tuesdays. I think that's about.
It's not bad.
It's a slant rhyme. It's not the Japanese pronunciation.
Boku no Taku Tuesday?
Yeah, Boku no Taku Tuesday. Now I want tacos.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I'm very hungry.
I know. We're also doing a one of our many little crossover. You get the whole thing live right now, and then you'll get the edited version on Still Loading Podcast. So, Josh, if you would like to do your little intro for your podcast, and then we can get this vacation started.
Sure thing, I can do that. And I think, before I go into it, I think the other ones we've done for this, Andrew, we did the Sega Dreamcast 25th anniversary, right?
Yes.
And then we did Fast and Furious, because we covered it for my Still Family series for Patreon.
Yep.
We covered the fourth Fast and Furious movie. That was a wild ride. No pun intended. Or maybe pun extremely intended.
No, own it.
Fuck it, sure. Why not? Why not? But all right, yeah, we'll dive into it. I will do my intros here for the podcast, and I can edit all that other shenanigery out. So, all right. Just because this is coming out in fall doesn't mean that summer is over. We are here to talk about my first experience with this series, and obviously my first experience with this game, and it kind of came on suddenly as we decided to do this. But we're here to talk about Boku no Natsuyasumi 2, which. I think one of my guests here will have a better way to translate it into English. I always assume it's My Summer Vacation is the best translation, but I understand it's not necessarily accurate either. So we're here to talk about, though, Boku no Natsuyasumi 2, the second game in this series of the same name. Joining me, we'll start off with the returning guest, someone you've heard on the podcast many times before, Andrew from The Experience Point. Andrew, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, and I think to put my 2 cents in on the is it My Summer Vacation? I think from what we learned in Japanese class when we took it together,
is it Boku's Summer Vacation?
Well, that's exactly it. To bring it back to the Japanese class that we took together, which is how we met all those years ago in 1975. It could be
we look really fucking good for our age.
I know, we look great. Boku, as in me, but also the child's name is Boku. But I think it would probably be closer to be My Summer Break, because vacation is a different word, and Yasumi, like Yasumimasu, is to rest. So it's My Summer Break.
Well, you know what? Let's throw it over to my second guest, who I think has a better grasp on this than either of us do. First time guest to the show, Ray from No More Whoppers, from Scroll Magazine, from Bipedal Dog, and also formerly from Retronauts. Ray, how are you doing today?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me today. Yes,
Thank
indeed.
you for coming on. So, what's your take on the title of Boku no Natsuyasumi? How would you localize that?
That's Tim Rogers' job. He'll tell you all about that. It's in that
Yeah.
video somewhere. That's not my it's not my purview. My summer vacation is perfectly fine. You can call it summer holiday if you are from another side of the world. That's the beauty
Yes.
of language, isn't it? And translation, it's just whatever pulls out the meaning the best. And we will argue about that part for years and years to come. So don't worry. But yeah.
Oh, there's totally not a bizarre contingent of people online who are mad at every single localization choice, no matter what.
Yeah. The only thing I will stick on is calling the game by its proper abbreviation in Japanese, which would be Bokunatsu.
Boku
Because some people just
Natsu.
call it Boku for short, and I did too. Like at the very beginning, I did too in my fandom, but it's just a little bit more proper. Doesn't sound quite as awkward or forced. Just saying Bokunatsu.
And Japan they shorten everything. I mean, that's just kind of the Japanese way. Aircon
Yeah.
for air conditioning, Pasocon for
Exactly.
personal computer. So I like Bokunatsu. Hearing you say it, when I was going through one of your when you got to interview the illustrious Kazayebe, and how you and him both shortened it to Bokunatsu, I was like, oh my god, of course, that's of course what they call it.
Of course.
But then that could also be
Yeah.
like, again, to dive into like the double meaning of everything, Bokunatsu still shortens to my summer. You know?
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Already in the weeds though.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, what are podcasts for except for getting into the weeds of on things that are probably not necessary to get into that far into? That's
Well.
what people. That's what y'all. That's what people listen for. Right?
You tell me. I'm the guest, and I don't have all day, dude.
That's true.
Just kidding.
So yeah, let's dive into this though, right? So the first thing we always start off with is our personal experiences and everything. And normally I would give my guests the first say on this, but I'll be honest, mine's short, so I don't want to disappoint the listeners by having these wonderful stories and then me just kind of go like, oh, I heard about it and decided to play it. And that's literally how I kind of first heard about this. I first heard about the series from you, Ray, on Retronauts, and then like in passing mentions and whatnot. And then over the summer, I saw that someone reposted on Blue Sky. I refuse to call it skeeting. I hate that name. It's not a reskeet. It's a repost. Yeah.
Ew.
Nope.
Who wants to call
I
it that?
refuse to
Who's
call it-
trying to make that a thing? Lil Jon?
No,
It's-
it's the
it's
typical
equal
sort
to
of
go.
people just trying to be precious. I wouldn't put too much stock into it. Tweet or
it's
post
just
is
a
fine.
post. It's just a post. Yeah. So someone reposted Hilltops, the localization team that the fan translation team that did the fan translation / localization of this game of Boku Natsu 2. Did I say that right? Boku no, yeah, whatever. I'm already like
It's okay.
losing my. And I saw this, and someone posted about how like it was a really fun experience for them to play a day of in-game time for every day in real life. So you would play August 1st on August 1st because the game takes place over the month of August 1st through 31st, and you would just do one day at a time. You would play August 1st on August 1st, August 2nd on August 2nd, rinse, wash, repeat for the whole month. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like a fun idea. And I actually started it a little bit earlier because what I did was after each one of those days, I recorded a little 4 to 5 minute audio diary of my experience of that day in the game, and then edited it together in 2 smash cut episodes that are like 50 minutes long, which are on Patreon, by the way. You can listen to them for only $1 a month, both of those things. And that's how I experienced the game for the first time. I was like, I should really try this. This sounds like a fun way to go about things. And I was talking a bit off mic how there's been some personal stresses in my life, and that was a really nice way to like every day sit back and just relax for like 20-30 minutes and just kind of decompress from gesturing broadly everything that's happening. So that was my personal experience with it. So Andrew, I want to hear about yours though. Like, how did you kind of first get into this game or first hear about it?
Yeah, so I first heard about it from a TikTok, actually. It was like, games you never heard of. Like, here's all my obscure games that more people need to know about, and that was one of them. And I was like, this looks really cute. And I looked up like a little. It was just like a couple of 10-second clips, and I was like, oh man, that little kid running around and fishing and cool. And I looked up all the games from that list, and the one that really stuck out to me was Boku no Natsuyasumi. And when I looked it up, the first thing that came up, as the previously aforementioned Tim Rogers, creator of this shirt, by the way, it's what the American box art for Boku no Natsuyasumi would have been.
Would have looked like.
Which is just like edgy, over the top, stone textures. Obviously, I found that video, legendary video, 6 hours long, and I started it, and much like when I played Dark Souls for the first time, I was like, I hate this. and then I stopped. The video, yeah. I was like, this is not this. Okay, maybe I'll just play the game. I don't know. I couldn't get into it. But then, much like when I played Dark Souls for the first time, I only gave it like maybe 10 minutes, and then I was like, okay, interesting. I'll move on. But I kept thinking about it afterwards, like both the game and that video, because I had never seen anything like that, the game or the video. And then I ended up watching the entire thing over a couple of days. I would do
6 hours is a long time.
6 hours is a long ass time. And I at the time I was doing a lot of walking, and I think it was cold. So I remember being on a treadmill at my apartment complex's gym and just holding my phone up and just watching this 6 hour long video as I was walking.
I'm just picturing someone walking in on you just like this the whole time.
Pretty much what I have to do, because I don't know if you can tell, but I'm like 7 feet tall, and so like when I can't have it down on the thing because it's too small. I'm not actually. I'm like 6'4", so almost.
You're 6'11".
Yeah, I'm 6'11 and a half, guys. And so like it would be too far away from my eyes, so I couldn't see anything. My very old failing eyes. So I would literally have to hold it up at like my eye level in order to to watch this video. But yeah, I watched the whole thing, fell in love with the video itself and what this game was, and Josh actually and I had this conversation of like, because at the time I hadn't played it yet, and I was like, can you love something? Can you love an experience you've never actually experienced? Because I truly feel like I fell in love with that video game from that very, very long deep dive, and I was like, I must play this. Now, I know I mentioned studying Japanese, but my level of Japanese was not good enough to play the original in full Japanese, because that's the only one that's not been translated yet. So fast forward to Josh being like, hey, I want to play the second one one day at a time for the month of August of this year. So we played it kind of together. I also did the audio diary thing, got all the way through the second one, playing it one day at a time. Very cool way to experience that game, and I think truly enhanced the experience, and I would definitely recommend it. I'm going to say experience a lot, which is why this whole channel is called The Experience Point, because I think that's what life is all about. And I too have my my full thoughts of the entire, not even my thoughts, just my recordings up on one big long YouTube video that you can check out on the Experience Point YouTube if you would like. And yeah, fell in love with it. Borderline life-changing. When people ask what the hell is this game about, I usually say it's Animal Crossing without the capitalism, and that's enough for a lot of people. So yeah, that was my experience with Boku no Natsuyasumi, and I'm gonna say it like that every time.
Now, Ray, you have been evangelizing this game for quite some time. So I'm curious, what are your, like, how did you first kind of get into this game? Where did you first hear about it, and what's your kind of earliest experiences? I mean, you can talk about the Boku Natsu series and as a whole if you'd like as well, but like just how did you kind of first get into this series and this game?
Well, I first found out about the first game when I was 17, and do you guys have any memory of Tokyo Pop?
Sounds familiar.
The anime manga company publisher. people place
Yes. Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. I know.
Uh,
I never really got any of their products, like any of like their circulars or anything like that. But I've heard of Tokyo Pop.
okay, so they had a magazine. It was like a free magazine you could subscribe to, and it would come to your door. And in like September of 2000, I think it was their final issue. The company
Wow.
had some problems, but
Mhm.
there was a blurb, like preview slash review thing of Boku no Natsuyasumi, and it's this writing and a few screenshots, and it looked exactly like the kind of game I was kind of wishing for a long time. It's just it just looked beautiful, and it's kind of thing where I really enjoy scenery in video games.
Hmm.
um
Mhm.
Nowadays you can kind of find it everywhere in open world games and all sorts of other sorts of things where people are much more artistically inclined. Back then there wasn't a whole lot of that in video games, not the least of which because of like the graphical fidelity and stuff. But just from those few screenshots, it looked very compelling, and I knew I had to get it. And so this was, well, I think the issue was September, but this was like in the summer. So I didn't import the game until September or so, and played it on my PS1 and booted it up. And it was, I would say confidently, exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I was enamored.
Mm.
Um, Taken aback in some ways just by the fact that it had like this beautiful narrated intro and all that stuff, and just the way it kind of like had these text boxes. Back then in the first game, there were white text boxes, and it kind of looked like a book in some ways to me,
Hmm.
and that really struck me. And so yeah, I just became like a huge fan of this game, and after that, it was just like trying to like evangelize it in my own little pocket of the internet as best as I could. I didn't have a whole lot of ways to do that, but soon after that, about a year later, I started my game journalism career at the Gaming Intelligence Agency, and they just had an open call for writers and stuff. And so I sent in a sample like preview slash review of that game, and I think that helped me sort of get that job, that unpaid job, and that just sort of launched my writing career that way. And then also, throughout 2001 and 2 was just like this year that I sort of document. I wrote this thing on Medium last year about Bokunatsu 2, and the first part of this is just like a whole history of like this year of tracking it up until release, because they had like published some sort of like teaser image like a year before it came out. And so it was just like me trying to like scrape together all the info about this game I could, because I was like, oh my God, there's a sequel to Boku no Natsuyasumi. They're actually doing it. I can't wait. Because now that the first game is like my favorite video game, I am like way, way hyped for any kind of other sequel or anything like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, it all basically started when I was a teenager, and it's been going on ever since. Just been following the career of the creator Kazayabe, and hoping that he makes new games that are at least somewhat similar to that every
Yeah.
so often.
Is that first one still your all-time favorite?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nice.
It's,
He said it's
yeah,
not even
it just has
close.
to take number one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You're like my first five favorite video games of all time are Boku no Natsuyasumi 1, 2, 3, 4, and Natsumon.
Well, not quite like that, but my number two favorite game of all time is Panic for Sega CD.
Okay.
So,
Okay. I don't know if I've
so it's
Panic
like
for
those
Sega
two
CD.
really solidified, and then
Yeah.
whatever else.
And then everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
That's
And
fair.
so, like, a lot of people talk a lot about the nostalgia factor of the story in those games and everything, but for me, it's not a nostalgia thing. It's just like appreciating that sort of like art in the game,
Yeah.
and liking that scenery first of all. And so I came at it, I think, from a different angle than a lot of people have over the years, especially now that the sort of Western fan base has grown, which is interesting. I know people do appreciate the painted backgrounds and all that, and we get together on that aspect. But like for me at first, it wasn't like, oh, this reminds me of childhood. I mean, it did, because I did grow up in a somewhat wooded area, so it did
Mhm.
remind me of that sort of thing. And I would have appreciated game, an adventure game of that sort, that sort of covered that sort of ground artistically, and it did. And so I was very satisfied, and that's why it's my number one game.
Nice. This game made me love.
That's really cool.
This game made sunflowers my favorite flower. Between Boku Natsu and my girlfriend, who that's her favorite, and I, not to get too cheesy, but like I call her my sunflower as one of my little pet names for her. Between
Oh,
her and
you
that game,
rapscallion, you.
I know, but it started because of Boku Natsu. I was like, oh my god, I never appreciated, because I grew up around a lot of them, and I always thought they were just kind of like, I never appreciated them as like things of beauty. Like they would always just kind of be around. But now, whenever I see sunflowers, I'm like, oh yes, the summer of 1975, like
The time you weren't alive.
the
Yeah.
time when I was a little Japanese boy in the Inaka summer of 1975.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Though.
Yeah.
So, like, moving on to Boku Natsu 2, were you, when it came out, were you satisfied with the sequel? Like, did it live up to your expectations? Were you content with it at the time?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a very good sequel. It is like the best of the series. I think a lot of people agree on that. And it it made some good improvements to like the formula, even like the technical stuff. Like it's paced a bit better, and it has a whole lot more characters and stuff, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure. But like, yeah, overall, it was just like uh, pretty amazing. Again, I was already at like a high hype level
Yeah.
to begin with for it, so it's not like I
Mm.
would have like totally been let down.
But at that level,
But yeah,
Sorry,
it
go
was a
ahead.
great like it was a great sophomore effort.
yeah. But if your expectations are so high, you have that much further to
That
come
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
If it didn't land,
Sometimes
which it
that
did.
is what's killed games for me, is where I get high expectations from. We joke about it on Talk Tuesday all the time. Hipster Josh comes out,
Oh,
which is
here he
when
is.
there's a game that's like super popular, and I'm just like, well, it's not as good as everyone says it
Right.
is. And it's usually just because someone has hyped up a game to a point where like I'll play it, and then I play it, and I'm like, well, this isn't anywhere near the expectation everyone set for me. Thankfully, this
Right.
game was not that. Just to be clear, the hipster Josh is not coming out for this conversation on Boku Natsu 2.
I think it's too
I had a good
obscure.
time with this game. Well, I mean, the same time though, like so it's funny that Tim Rogers video that we've been referencing. I remember when that video was releasing, because they did, like, how YouTube, like, you can do a live video and it'll like live stream the premiere, and you can be in chat with people while
Right.
the video is going live. I remember that happening, seeing it on Twitter back when that was still a thing, and um just watch it. Like, people were posting about it or tweeting about it, and I was like, okay, let me check in on this. And I clicked on it, and it was like 4 hours in. I'm like, what the fuck is going on
Yeah.
here? Like, 4 hours, dear God. So I have yet to watch that whole video yet, but I do actually plan on uh uh watching it at some point.
Hmm.
But
Well, watch for
yeah,
a special guest within the first 20 minutes.
I did see your.
Oh
your,
my
I mean,
God!
not your.
Yeah. All right, fine.
Did you not notice that?
I
Andrew?
didn't notice until just this very moment when you said that was you in that video.
Oh my God.
How dare you, Andrew?
I mean, so
What
to
do you
be fair,
need?
I watched it
Hi.
like a year and a half.
Going.
Look at that smile.
Wow,
Can't miss it.
It's me.
Held
In-
up the box and everything.
I know. Oh my god. In my own defense, this was like a year and a half ago, so it's probably not enough.
You're wearing the shirt.
I
am
know.
wearing the
I
same.
am wearing.
Yeah, probably the same. I am too.
Oh, I
My
was
same black
talking about
shirt.
Andrew's. I was
No,
I was
but just
mentioning
yeah,
your Andrew
coincidentally.
shirt.
I know.
I think we're both wearing.
That's
yeah.
really funny if everyone's wearing the same shirt.
That's so. All right, Tim, come on out. Come on, Tim.
I know, right? Hold on. He just opens up the door and comes into my camera. I don't know Tim at all, so that would be a wild thing to happen. Anyway, so yeah, let's dive into the game in earnest now, though. Like, for those who have not played this game, and kind of just as a literally brief overview of it, like, normally, like, when I describe like the basic premise of a game, it usually can be a little long-winded. This is pretty straightforward. You play as a character named Boku, as a kid named Boku, which is funny because Boku means I or myself or me or whatever. So you are playing as yourself, but also playing as a character named Boku, who is on summer vacation visiting his aunt and uncle, while his mom is having a baby. So he gets sent away to to live with his aunt and uncle for a month during the month of August. in a southern coastal town, which I forget. I feel bad. I forget the name of the town. What's the name of the town?
It's a fake name, but it's based on a real place. So it's takes place in Futo, which is in the Izu Peninsula.
Okay.
But the real base inspiration was a town called Ito,
Okay.
but it's generally the Izu Peninsula area.
All right. So you go to Futo and you live there for a month, and that's literally the premise of the game. Like there are storylines and threads that kind of you as you play through you meet other people on in the village and or in the town, and you get to know them, and you hear more about their lives and more of their story and how they actually each a lot of the characters have a character arc, and you can kind of follow along with them and be a lot of times the inspiration for that character arc or the inciting incident for that character arc. I'm thinking specifically of Yasuko and Yo, and their whole character arc together, their whole thing together. But there will be a spoiler section towards the end for all those different for all the story stuff and the character stuff. Not because I think there's very little story in this game, but I do think having those little story threads brings I don't know it to me it makes the game a little bit more exciting because when you discover those little bits of story and you start piecing them together, it makes it a lot more enjoyable, at least to me. So I want to kind of save it for other people as well for the end of the for a spoiler wall section. But you play through the summer and then you go back home. And I know I'm simplifying it like crazy. There's a lot of stuff you do over the next 31 days, but that in essence is the premise of the game. So yeah, I don't really I guess to kind of kick off the conversation, I want to start off with you, Andrew, and just kind of talk about like what are some of your favorite aspects about the gameplay of this? Like what did you enjoy doing? And kind of go more into it.
Yeah.
More of your thoughts on it.
I don't think you oversimplified it at all, because just experiencing a summer vacation from the viewpoint of a little kid who's probably what 8 years old, 7 or 8.
9.
Oh, he's 9. Like
Yeah.
that is it. Like you can do as much or as little as you want with your summer vacation, and it doesn't punish you for doing nothing. If you want to do nothing, like there are days like we talked about the little audio diaries. Boku also keeps a diary at the end of each day, and he makes a cool little cartoon drawing. And even if you do nothing, he draws a pretty little picture of the sun or some crabs, and are just like, you know what, nothing happened today, but I still think it was a really great day. And like that is the essence. It is just experiencing it as a kid. My favorite aspect of this game is just that it doesn't ask you to do anything. It's up to you to kind of explore and find these story threads, or if you want to spend all day fishing, or if you want to spend all day like wrestling bugs.
Bug sumo wrestling.
But I spent a lot of time doing the bug sumo. You can. And never have I felt like every choice you make feels like the right choice, even if that choice is to do quote unquote nothing. I think that's probably my favorite aspect of it. The open-ended nature, but even open-ended games, you still feel like Animal Crossing is like, okay, I got to pay off my debt. Like, yeah, I'm relaxing and I'm running around either this cute little town or on this little island, but you're still like, there's the looming capitalism over your head, or like people always want you to do things. And it's like, in Boku no Natsuyasumi, people are just like, yeah, just exist. Just be a kid. Just be a kid. Just exist. Like, I love it. It's genius. What about you, Ray? What's your favorite aspect of this series? Or maybe this particular game?
Well, I did mention like the scenery stuff, and that's probably, at the forefront of my mind.
Yeah.
But you tell people that, you don't have to do much, and it's pretty open-ended. But I do want to stress, there is a real video game under there, and there is a lot of story to do. There are tasks if you want to do them, and there are things to do, and there is like a overall like fulfillment. You can have a real sense of fulfillment if you pursue that. If you go and search out all the story beats and all that sort of stuff, you will get a real experience out of it. And so that is also what I enjoy quite a bit. It's like there's a real story to it, and you can keep talking to people over and over and get more bits of story, and more characters
Mhm.
come in and all that, and you can do that, or you can indeed just be a 9-year-old kid and run around and do relatively nothing. But at the same time, Boku is just kind of like an avatar, and uh, he compared to the first game, there's not a lot of emotion to him. If I just think of the ending, and I'll describe this as generally as I can, like the ending of the first game is emotional. The ending of two is not as emotional for Boku. So it's
Yeah.
kind of placed in a different set of characters, but uh, it and in the sequel that kind of carries through the whole thing. It's that Boku is just a bit more of an observer in this one, and you just kind of have to seek out other people's stories, and that's fine. I'm not saying that's bad or anything, but it's just like
It's just different
it's a key difference, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's or not a key difference, but it's enhanced in this one. Like it's really driven home more that he's just kind of like
I can
uh,
totally see that.
an avatar for the player, and not necessarily like the old guy who is recounting his story from being a boy in the first game.
Right. But you're still
That's
through the
much more obvious.
lens of a little kid. Like I love the
Exactly.
conversations that you have, and I want to say, like, yeah, I'm very glad that you brought up, like, it is a video game, and I didn't mean to downplay the excellent stories that are there, which
Yeah, no, it's definitely both things.
yeah. But I love that when you do access these stories and you engage with them, you're still engaging with them like through the lens of a little kid. Like I think of one moment in particular where when you're talking to Gramps, the old man, the Yasuko's grandfather, he's like super depressed, and he's like, yeah, I just feel like sometimes we're just here to exist and make connections, and then death rips all that we love from us. And you're like, whoa. And then Boku, you think he goes, yeah, I think I know what you mean. And then you think he's going to say some really like like profound but still childlike thing, like that's why we got to make the most out of everything every day we have. But he just goes, yeah, I actually have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
Because he's just a kid. Like he's not going to get it. Like, or even like when
He's
you
not living with existential dread
right,
yet. He's got a few more years before that.
Yeah. Or even like when you as the player are like, oh my god, yeah, like I know what's happening. Like I basically figured out the whole gold subplot before it happens, but still you're as a little kid Boku like completely oblivious to what's going on, and I love that. And the sound design,
Yeah, because
is also one of my
and that's
favorite
realistic,
aspects.
right?
Mhm.
Like if some adult is pouring out your heart to you and you're a 9-year-old, you're just going to be like, yeah,
Right.
well, let's do our best. No, you just be like, okay,
Yep.
wow,
I want to get ice cream.
yeah.
Can you go buy ice cream from my aunt's shop,
Yeah.
please?
Yeah, right.
Uh, but you're 100% right, Ray. I think like talking about how Boku is more of a like less of a character in this. I'm not that I can't compare it to the original, but from my experience with this game, how he's less of a character, more of an avatar, it makes perfect sense because it's all the storylines that you become the catalyst for are based off of your decisions, not necessarily Boku's decisions, if that makes sense. Like you're since you are Boku, like all the stuff with Yasuko and all the stuff with Yasuko and her mom. I really liked
Ooh.
a lot of Yasuko's storylines. I had a lot of her. I did a lot of her stuff. But then even like the gold storyline and everything like that, like it's all based off who you're talking to, who you choose to engage in conversations with and explore around the island. And sometimes it's just like happenstance, like you'll be exploring around the island and just walk into someone like the wolf man. Like if you don't figure out how to get to that section of the island, you never see him. From my, at least I believe so anyway.
Yeah. I mean, you can skip. I mean, again, as we already established, you can skip a lot of it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
Accidentally
you can
or
miss.
on purpose.
Sorry, my
Yeah.
okay, sorry. My daughter was like running around. I wanted to make sure she was okay, but she's laughing. I thought I was crying for a second. We're good, fam. We're all good. Um, uh, sorry. What was the last thing we were saying?
just how you can either on purpose or accidentally miss or skip out on a lot of this game. There's probably a bunch of stuff that I tried to maximize my time as much as humanly possible, and I had to dial that back a little bit because I felt like I was metagaming it a little too much towards the beginning, and was like, let me just experience it because I know about how the time works. But like,
I didn't know how the time worked beforehand, so it made it gave me the ability to kind of experience it a little bit more. Though once I found is it Hikari is Yasuko's sister, right?
Yeah.
I think that's her name.
Yep.
And she has the fortune teller that can kind of give you hints on what to do. That's a dangerous thing if you're trying to just let the game experience the game, because if you're trying to be straight progress driven, you just go straight to her and she gives you like tips on what to do. Which for the listeners, I guess, real quick, some of the things you can do besides just talking to people and exploring the island, you can go fishing, like we mentioned. You can go swimming, and there's a lot of exploration underwater, which is a lot of fun. You can find bottle caps, which will then increase the amount of air you can breathe underwater. There's also the bug sumo wrestling, which I was not good at, but you can do that. And I think you can ride a bike, but you can only ride it like you can't ride it up steps or anything like that. You can only ride it in specific areas. And then the rest of it is just kind of exploring the island. From what am I missing another gameplay segment with this? Like because there's the sumo, the fishing, the swimming, the bike riding. Is there something else I'm missing? I don't think there is.
I mean, you can water the flowers at the side of the house.
Yeah.
It's kind of inconsequential, though.
I mean, I did that, and then I got mad when I missed one. I won the competition, and when I missed the one day, they all died. I'm like, what the hell, man? I think I just happened to, because I'm assuming they die no matter what, regardless of how much you water them. So
I think so, because I did it every day, and they still died.
Geez. Okay, so yeah, then it must have just been what it is. My kid's giggling outside the door right now. But so you can do all those different things, explore around the island, and I mean that's pretty. That in terms of gameplay, not to downgrade it, like those things are all fun, and it kind of gives you the freedom to explore around it. It does a phenomenal job at keeping with that theme of childhood, because it's so hard. I feel like sometimes when a game picks a theme and picks like an emotion it's trying to elicit in its players and the people experiencing it, and sometimes it's hard to really nail that, especially when you have such a broad sense of emotion as childhood, right? Like, how do you make kids feel like they're a kid again, especially with something like this is hyper specific to a Japanese boy in 1975 on an island, right? Like that. But what I think is magical about this game is that it was able to make me feel nostalgic for my own summer memories without necessarily actually giving me my summer memories to replay or re-experience.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
I think that's a really... Sorry, go ahead, Andrew.
I was just gonna say, there's a lot of crossover there, though. Like, obviously I joked about, like, oh, when I was a child in 1975. But, like, we have all been kids who ran outside and caught bugs and just, like, got dirty until the sun went down and went home and had dinner with our family, and like we all had similar experiences, whether it was that's true, that hyper specific or not. So it definitely brought me back to a lot of moments.
One thing I've always I don't know what it is. This is clearly just my perception on things. This is not a reality, but every time I hear about like bug collecting in Japanese kids, you have Pokemon, the dude who created Pokemon, he was inspired by bug collecting, and this game where you can collect bugs. I'm like, what is it with Japanese kids and collecting bugs? I never did any of that as a kid, and I feel like I missed out on something amazing. I could have made Pokemon, God damn it.
I know.
It's because they got those big beetles over there.
That's what I was going to say. It's those big-ass Kabuto beetles.
Yeah. Prehistoric caliber insects over there that you can just pick up and...
Yeah.
They're like crabs, these beetles.
They're huge.
Yeah.
It would have been cool if you could fight crabs.
That's the key caliber
insect.
I don't like bugs. I never did. I never touched any bugs as a kid. So
same. Yeah. Not my cup of tea. But then I'll play this. I'm like, why are they not afraid of this? Is there something wrong with me? Like, should I? I every time I see that, I'm like,
Yeah.
how come they're not afraid or grossed out by touching bugs? But meanwhile, me, I'm like, don't just stay away from me.
I think it's
Yeah.
how many legs that they have. Like, as if you notice, Boku's not catching giant spiders, which they do have there. They have like Australia level size huntsman spiders in the Japanese
Ooh.
countryside, and I was like, if that showed up on a tree, every time his little hand goes up to the tree to catch a bug, I'm like, eh. But like a beetle, like it's not so bad. But if it was like a centipede, one of those big ass like venomous centipedes, or a big spider, I'd be like, absolutely not. We're not even playing this mini game. So I think it's the choice of bug.
Right, because beetles, they look monstrous, but they're not necessarily dangerous.
Yeah.
They're not like a
No.
wasp. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you could catch the
You're more
murder
likely to
hornets and
get a
use
beetle.
those in the battles, that would be one.
Yeah.
What,
one
no bee
thing.
drills here in Boku no Natsuyasumi
Yeah.
too? No bee drills flying around?
No, not really. Oh, and also, one thing, you mentioned the fishing, but there's, and there's the bug catching, not necessarily the fighting, but you can get your net out and catch butterflies and stuff like that.
Which
So that's
I
another-
did not
that's another
realize
mini
you
game.
could do for the longest time. There's so many things in this game where I missed it by accident. Like actually, Andrew, I remember when you were streaming, I mentioned you can ride a bike, and you're like, "What?"
Yeah.
And like, because they don't tell you some things, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Like I think that's what's so. Sometimes I think there are games where by them not telling you something, it's a disservice to the player because it's usually something vital. This, I think, it just because the game is meant to be a sense of discovery, it kind of works out better for that. I recently edited an episode on Golden Sun, which by the time this comes out, that episode will already be out. But one of the big issues we had with Golden Sun was that the battle system in that game is like crazy in depth, but it is not broadcasted well at all. Like you have to really kind of like find other people. You have to meet other people who have already played this game so many times that they were able to break down the system, and then you can kind of understand its mechanics and everything. And in this game, like, it's kind of what's fun about not knowing everything is that like there's not just with gameplay but also with specific events, like storyline beats that you can miss entirely. And I'm not even talking about just like Wolfman. There's the girl in the hospital, which I'll save for the spoiler section because there's something with that Andrew completely missed.
I never interacted with
met
her
once, and
Yeah.
and it's cool. I like that element of this. I like that experiential, no pun intended with the experience point, but experiential element of it with just with just giving you that vibe of childhood sense of wonder and discovery and getting to explore around everything. And you've touched on it already a bunch, Ray, but I agree with you with how like one of the things that help with that feeling is the visuals and the background. And like the first time I played this game, I went, holy shit, we're in a Miyazaki movie. Like this is, and the way that it was everything's very picturesque. Even like the water is animated. A lot of times when you have like a still image with an animated element, it doesn't always work. And I think it actually works really well with this. Even when you come out of the pre-rendered background, backgrounds, and you jump into the water and everything's fully 3D, I think that even works pretty well too, in terms of like tonally, in terms of how it's going with like the overall, I guess, visual aesthetic for the game. Like it's great. I enjoyed so much about this game.
That was one of my gasp moments when you jump into the water for the first time and you're just swimming around a fully 3. I was like, what? Like that was so cool.
That was like my feeling when the game was first revealed. It was like, oh, now there's a 3D part. Wow, hope they pull this off. But they did. I mean, you don't have to have a whole lot of detail when you're underwater, but
yeah, I loved trying to find all the bottle caps. I think I got like
Does it make
14.
a difference if Boku swims with his shirt or without his shirt? Because I was watching a long play and someone just took his shirt off. I'm like, why even bother doing that? Just jump into the water. I don't care.
That's like Counter-Strike. You run faster with a knife.
Yeah, yes. You joke about that, and I think when we talked about it, I found myself so caught up that I was like, sometimes I would be like, I should take my shirt off because if I get my shirt wet, I might get scolded or something. Like I went into little kid mode and was like, oh yeah, we're gonna swim, take your shirt off. So the little things like that. Like, is there any mechanical reason to ever take your shirt off?
No,
in real life?
no reason, but he can get
in real
tan.
life.
Oh, he does.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
Man, he was
you know,
clothed the whole time. That boy was was white as shit by the end of that game.
and there's
Farmer
the
tan.
shower off by the dock. You can always make sure to wash yourself off after every swim, but
Right.
it doesn't affect
Didn't know
anything.
that was there.
I like the little. He does this little dance when he's under the shower. He's just like, it's
Yeah.
so
The booty
cute.
shake, yeah.
Yeah. You didn't know that the shower was
Oh, you
there,
know, I did
Josh?
find that shower. No, I did find that shower. Now that I remember
Okay.
where it's at, yeah,
That's so funny.
I remember where it's
Or
at.
like the
Okay,
bike.
yeah.
Is there a reason for the bike? Because it's not like moving
Go fast?
faster has any gameplay advantage because the time only moves when you change scenes.
No, it's just a nicety that they added for the
Yeah,
sequel.
it's just cool.
It's just like, yeah, because you're gonna have. I mean, if you are progression focused in your playthrough, you're gonna want to get everywhere as fast as you can. Just so, especially if you have like concurrent story beats running, then you'll want to make sure you cover everything.
But doesn't
One thing I will.
time?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Andrew.
I was gonna say, but like time changes. Like the time passes the same rate whether you are on your foot or not, though, right?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
But I'm saying if you do have like one story to follow at one end of the map and another at the other end, for example, that's like an whatever. I'm generalizing, but
Yeah.
you will want to make it across as soon as you can. Just to keep time ample, and then also you would again, if you're very progression based, you would want to like also finish up the Beetle Sumo, make progress in that. You would want to go also have ample time to do that, and so again, if you're a certain type of player in a certain playthrough, yeah, you will have a lot to do towards the middle of the game every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
one-
time passes at the same rate. You can set it to go faster or slower. Again, that
okay.
was a new thing for the sequel. Is that in every game since then? Is that now you can make it a little easier on yourself. But
So it's just about saving your real life time.
yeah, exactly.
And
And it has a bell too. It's like Earthbound.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
god, I love Earthbound. I had shades of Earthbound playing this game too. Like this is what
it
it
really
feels
comes through
like
on the
to
bike.
be a kid.
I was
It's like
gonna say
you know, it's like the games that have a button to pet the dog. It's like your bike better have a bell.
Gotta have it. Yeah.
That's what I think.
For me, if I see a game with rails and you can't rail grind, I get mad.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
Man, it always comes back to oh my gosh, why am I blank? Jet
Jet Set Radio.
Jet Set Radio. Always comes back to Jet Set Radio.
Yep.
What I was going to say was one thing, and it's not the game's fault, but one thing I found myself doing and it kind of regretting it is like getting into that gamer mindset of like min-maxing a little bit, because once I realized that you can only have like one major diary entry per day, I would actually start like, if I knew I could get an event by doing something, I would wait to do the event until the next day if I already had done something that day, which I thought would have triggered
Yeah.
a journal entry. Because the perfect summer you get by having something to do, like every journal entry that you do has to have some type of an event in it. If you get too many journal entries that say nothing special happened today, but I still think it was a wonderful day, then that decreases like your ranking. And I thought,
but it's still it's
but that
not as
defeats the
important.
purpose of the game. No,
But it's not as
and it
important in the
defeats
first
purpose
game
of it.
because the first game had multiple endings and this one doesn't. So
Oh, really?
it's not as much of a punishment.
Oh, I'm surprised to hear that. Is there anything else that features that were there in the first one that they took out of the second one?
Off the top of my head, not really, other than the fact that like there's a mysticism angle in the first game that doesn't really play into this one at all, and yeah, there's some technical efficiency stuff. Like the intro is much faster in 2.
Huh.
Like you can get going with. I mean, once the intro movie ends, you're done within like you can get. Excuse me, not done, but you can get started within like 30 seconds, as
Yeah.
opposed to the first game where you have to sit through a intro movie, then a few cutscenes, and blah blah blah.
And the first day in this one, like it feels like there's not a lot that you can do. You get off the boat and you have to go eat dinner, and then you're done
Yeah.
for the day. Like
That's typical.
not much else to it.
That's how it goes. Yeah.
so it felt like the lead up to actually being able to play this game in earnest didn't feel like slow or anything. But I the first day, remember I said I was playing this a day at a time. The very first day, I actually just played day 1 and 2 back to back because otherwise there's like nothing to do on the first day. You just kind of
Right.
like arrive
It's
at the island and
orientation.
then you're done.
Yeah.
That's right. It's
Syllabus day.
orientation.
First day of class. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I don't have much else in terms of the gameplay to talk about, but is there, in terms of like any of the anything else that you guys want to touch on before we go into, I guess, the, I guess we could, I guess we should at least touch on like the sound design for this before we get into any spoiler stuff, because I want to talk at least a little about the sound design on this game. It's really cool.
It's
I
immaculate.
really like the sound design for this. So before I share my thoughts, Ray, do you have any thoughts on the sound design? I want to throw it over to you first. The music that's in the game or anything like that, anything on the sound, and if you have any stuff on the visuals too, we can just talk about aesthetics overall, I guess.
Yeah, I always liked how they treated music differently in 2 than in 1. So in 1, it's like a couple of tunes that play in certain moments, and that's kind of it, because you do get then after that the what's the damn word? The ambient noises of the outdoors and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, diegetic. Is that the word?
Yes, yeah.
Oh
That
man,
works.
there's my $10 word for the day.
It's a good one. Cha-ching. But but then music is treated differently in 2 because mostly because of that record player at Yasko's house.
Yeah.
And Yasko herself just sings a couple of times herself because she has that Frere Jacques going in her head.
A
couple of
very
times.
sad song.
And then but then like the what I'll call the cinematic tunes from 1 aren't used as much in 2. It is basically just like that environmental music, and then the ambient noise and the diegetics and yes, all that stuff. And that's interesting to me. I mean, I like both approaches. Both games are, of course, very cinematic in their approaches, so it doesn't really matter that much. But I did think that was an interesting comparison, is that there's just not as many of those pointed soundtrack songs
Yeah.
in 2. In 1, and there was already only a couple in 1, so it's funny.
I can really only think of like the like the intro, and then also like at the final campfire before the summer
Right,
ends, they
yeah.
had that one song, which was really beautiful. I got emotional when that was playing. That was a really nice moment.
Yeah.
Andrew, what about you though? Throwing it over to you now.
I cried so many times towards the end of this game, especially in that moment. Yeah, I mean, I think if you go back and like listen to my initial thoughts on day 1 from my little audio diary, that's one of the first things I noticed was the sound design. I was just like blown away with how real it felt, how grounding it felt. Just especially this one being surrounded, like the subtitle of this one is Umi no Bokenhen, which is like Adventure by the Sea. It being surrounded, like the ocean being such an integral part of the setting for this one. Every scene not by the ocean, I swear that the trees sound different. So now you have the ocean, so like depending on how close you are to the water, you can hear like the waves just like lapping, or the bugs, or which changed based on the time of day, like different bugs come out, time of year different bugs come out, like it just. And Ray, you mentioned the why am I trying to think phonograph? What am I, like from 1600? The record player from Yasko's room. One of my favorite, maybe my favorite piece of sound design from this game is obviously you can hear that music from like on my first day. I heard the music and it drew me to their house. If you get close enough to the record player, you can hear the little pops and crackles of the actual record playing. And I was like, I just was like, oh my God, this is just, I'm there. I feel like I'm there. And that just only enhances the experience of like being, I can feel the sun on my skin when I'm playing this game, mostly because of how real and grounding the sound design is. It's just,
Right.
even just running around, like your little footsteps are different if you're on, dirt or grass or sand, like, oh, it's excellent. Excellent.
Not to mention like the TV and the radio and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like so many games now have some sort of like TV or radio you can turn on and have some
Yeah.
skits play. But like this was like an early example of something that added that to the environment.
Yeah. It was Boku no Natsuyasumi, and then right after that, Max Payne.
Alan Wake, well, same developer as Max.
I was going to say.
For me, with the sound design and everything, I agree with both of you. I think I love the cicada noises the most, though it was funny. When I was watching I didn't finish the Tim Rogers video, but when I was watching it, he obviously has clips from the game in it, and when you hear the cicadas, I'm like, oh, that's the exact same cicada sample that they used from the first game in the second game. Like it's the same like rhythm and everything. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I don't think that doesn't ruin anything for me. I just found that kind of like cool that they carried that over. But it's funny for me. I liked all the forest sounds a lot. It felt very peaceful to me. And I enjoyed being able to kind of walk around, especially at nighttime. Because when I would play this normally, like when I was doing the daily thing, it would be like at 10:30 at night my time, right? So it would be literally like right before I went to bed. I turned off. I played it on an emulator, and right before I went to bed, I would come on my computer and I would sit down and I would play it for 20, 30 minutes, however long it took, and then I would record the audio diary right after that, and I'd pick a later date to edit it. And it was such a nice way to kind of decompress at the end of the day, where you have all these wonderful sounds and soundscapes and the ocean just swirling behind you. Only thing I wish I would have had to make it even better is surround sound, if it would have supported it, just being able to like kind of have that in all aspects of it. My only criticism of the sound design in this is actually Yasuko's record player. Not because the music was bad. I actually liked all that, but you could hear that thing for goddamn like a mile away. You'd be like 3 screens away. You could hear it. I'm like, okay, it's faint. I get that. Then you'd go 1 screen over, and it was like you were right next to it. Then you go to the next screen over. You're still not at her house. You still have 2 screens to go. You're still not at her house, and then you'd go to the next screen, and it's the same volume. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, they could have like done that a little bit better. That is a very minor criticism, though. That is like nitpicking to the nth degree. Yeah. But I remember playing it like, oh, that's just an odd choice.
She was kind of blasting that thing.
I do think that is sort of based on the quote unquote camera position. I think is how they might have designed that, based on what screen you're in. How close the record player might be relative to the quote unquote camera.
Yeah, the ocean's
but
like
in
that
general,
too.
like the scale of the map is a little bit misleading at times, because like I remember there's like a line where Yo is talking about his dad and how he's like up on the mountain, but it's like 3 screens away, and it's like, dude, you can just go see him. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but in the universe, maybe it is. I don't know. So
yeah, because it would take you all day.
Too.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it too, each screen being 10 minutes, like think about how far you can walk in 10 minutes.
I mean, look, here I have the manual. Okay, here's the manual. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. I'm going to hold the manual up to the camera. You can see there's a map, and it is already a bit abstracted because it's done in the art style of the character design and everything. But it looks a bit big.
Yeah.
It looks like a big map, but it doesn't always feel like it. So.
No, and I understand they have to make those limitations also for gameplay, whether it's technical limitations or otherwise. Sometimes, like, when a map is too big, I feel like we're experiencing that a lot with open world games now, where maps are just huge. So you can spend 40 minutes crossing it, or you can do fast travel, but it kind of then defeats the purpose of all the art that was made for the 40-minute thing. I like it. I like this where it's like you don't need fast travel. You can get to the mountain in like 2 or 3 screens, which if it's only 10 minutes and it only takes him 30 minutes, that boy is too lazy to go see his father. It takes him probably a 40-minute walk to get up to the top of that mountain.
Yeah. And you unlock shortcuts.
Come on.
Plus, I do understand, though, that you just want that teenager to turn her damn music down. So I get it.
I'm getting into my old man era.
I was
of
gonna
living,
say,
like, you turn this,
hipster
you
Josh
turn
is
it down,
dead.
it's too goddamn loud.
Bring on
Turn
Boomer
it down.
Josh.
Classical
Beethoven like
music.
You're playing,
Whatever-
you're playing your
whatever.
soft classical music way too loud for me and my my boomer sensibilities.
Hey, there apparently, I remember, this is very apocryphal. I have no idea if this is actually true or not, but I heard when I was younger that there was a study done that people who listen to classical music while driving have a higher tendency towards road rage. So I'm just saying, you know, she's up there listening to Bach or whatever the fuck in her room. She's probably just moshing like crazy when you're not there, just like throwing it down, just
Yeah.
pissed off at the world. My mom won't give me a key to the house. God damn it!
I was gonna say she has pretty good reasons to be hating the world.
She's got a hard life. Well, let's. And speaking of being mad at the world for not having a key to your house, let's go into the spoiler wall section for this.
Okay, I thought
Okay.
We could kind of talk. Just because that is involving Yasuko's story and everything like that. Not that that was a crazy plot, like a spoiler there or everything. But unless either of you have anything else to add on any of the previous stuff, we already touched a bit on visuals and the sound, gameplay. But is there anything else you would like to touch on before we talk about the different, you know, storylines and stuff in the game?
No, I'm good.
yeah, and I think it's a good time to
All right.
get into the story because we talk around it a lot. So let's dive.
Yes, and I think we did a pretty good job of not really going too far into anything. And
Yeah.
like I said, like the story beats are like they're very, some of them are subtle, some of them are very overt, but I also think like that's what's kind of fun about playing this game for the first time is to not know what they are before you
Yeah.
experience them.
Oh,
because I think it adds that little bit of flavor.
Yeah, I did want to say just as a little side note that I found kind of just interesting. I'll say is you mentioned the cicadas. So obviously we played this one day at a time in the month of August. It was wild to me playing this game, hearing the actual cicadas, and then like so on. You mentioned you played this at night usually. That was the same for me, but on weekends I would play it in the morning, and so I would play in the morning and then I would go for a walk because this game always made me want to go outside. So it was just wild to hear cicadas droning in my head in my headphones and then taking it off and still hearing it and being like, oh, did I leave the sound on or something? Was this playing the whole time? But it was really just real ones outside. Like that's how good the recordings are of these bugs, that it just sounded exactly like real life. And then going and doing an audio log of my experience of playing this game outside, so that like in the full, like the final version, you can hear real cicadas as I'm talking about how well they did the fake cicadas in the game. Like it's nuts.
That's such a funny because like I wouldn't hear too many cicadas where I'm at, not because I bet you I could,
Yeah.
but the thing is where I live, specifically where like. So my wife and I, we got our house a year ago, and it came with a pool. Now this ties into this. I promise we're not bragging about a pool. It's a fucking money sink. But because we have a pool and because of the area I live in, there's a goddamn shitload of tree frogs everywhere. And so at nighttime they come out, and the amount it sounded like cicadas. They weren't because they were tree frogs, but they are so loud. There was at one point in time like. I remember I was laying in my bed, which is on the opposite side of the house of the pool, and it was so loud it was like almost deaf. Like you would walk outside and it was that crazy loud. And the reason I brought up the pool is that they would jump into the pool and into the filter system. We would have to get them out all the time. Found a couple other ones that did not make it, and that was always a little sad. But playing this game at night, taking off my headphones from the cicadas, or from the cicadas in game, only to hear like tree frogs everywhere, just kind of added more ambiance to it. There was one night I remember, I don't know if I was playing the game or if it happened like prior to me playing it, but I bet you years later it's going to become synonymous with me. It was like raining like crazy, and I look out the window of my office, my game room, which is, by the way, on the second floor, and there's just a tree frog just plastered on the window. I have no idea how he got up there, but he's just chilling there. I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? You're nowhere near your house. It was goofy.
He said, turn the game back on. This is cool.
He's like, I'm watching.
Do the bug stuff.
I want to hear the cicadas too.
Do the bug stuff. It's making me hungry.
It's making me hungry. But all right, so let's kind of talk about the the story beats in this. I don't really have any like specific order. We don't have to talk about all of them, but just kind of touch on some of our favorite story elements, favorite story beats, and this and that. I will say, at least to start off, would you both agree the major like quote unquote plot line for this is the gold, right? The gold that's hidden in the mine.
I think so. I think it's the one that lasts the
That and
longest.
Yo's rocket. I would say
Yeah,
those two.
I would
Yo's
say
rocket and the mine.
I would say from my experience anyway, it was the gold. That was the longest one, and I think the hardest to avoid having like seeing anything about because there's so many people that are involved, so many players that are involved. But I think the main one would probably be Yasuko and Yo.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a big one.
I think it's just Yasuko in general and her various
Yeah.
things to deal with. Just because she's kind of like she's the first character you see. You know, she's like your first friend in
Right.
the game, and you just become instantly drawn into her world, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, yeah. Because she's on the boat with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So her and Yo and that whole thing, yeah, for sure. The gold thing, it becomes like the main one towards the back half, that's for sure. And then it has a nice bit of drama attached to it. But yeah, so kind of both.
I liked that gold one. I really enjoyed because it added a little bit of mystery to the game, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Speaking of mystery, there is a story beat that something happened and it wasn't resolved, and I am dying to know because I don't think we talked about it, Josh, when you and I did, because we tried to save a lot of the plot stuff for this. Are we in spoiler territory?
Yeah. We're full spoiler territory. Spoilers for anyone who doesn't want to know that. To fucking skip to I don't know.
Right.
Maybe I'll think of a timestamp.
Why is the car in the ocean? Did you find
the earthquake?
Earthquake. Yeah, there was an earthquake.
I remember the earthquake, but no.
The earth quaked so much, Andrew. The car fell into the ocean.
Really? Oh, that's
that's
so anticlimactic.
Sorry.
I talked to.
They tell you flat out what had happened.
Nobody told me. I talked to like everybody. I guess not the right
covered,
people.
It's covered during breakfast.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, we had an earthquake last night, and then you walk out and you see the car in the ocean. So the earthquake, I don't know if anyone explicitly states, hey, the earthquake pushed the car into the ocean.
I don't.
But like they say there's an earthquake, and then when you walk outside and see the car in the ocean, you're like, oh shit, that happened.
I don't think that happened in my playthrough, or if it did, I completely forgot because I remember seeing it and then talking to everyone and thinking it was this big deal, and I don't think it was. Maybe it was like a day or two after the earthquake. I never put those two together. What I thought this whole time was because when I noticed it, it was when the gold plot line was starting to really hit ahead, and I was like, "Oh my god! Did what's the Yasuda?
Yeah, I can look it up real quick.
Or
Taniguchi.
Taniguchi. Yeah, I almost said Yamaguchi. I was like, did he push the car in the ocean so we have no way to escape, and he's gonna kill us for the gold? And then it just
Boku got real dark real fast.
Yeah, I was like, and then it just which then made it weird that one of the only times I took a bath in the game was it just ended up being me and Taniguchi alone. I was like, I'm dead. This guy's he's gonna drown me. Like there was a lot of weird. I mean, that's like fine. Like bathing culture in Japan is different than ours, and that's I can suspend my disbelief enough. But then there's like the boat guy who makes a lot of weird comments about Yasuko, and he's explicitly saying how he's in his 30s, and he's like, man, so she's only in high school. Do you think she'd go for a guy like me? And I'm like, excuse the fuck out of me? Japan, stop. And even Boku's like, you're just gonna get hurt. And in my head, I was like, that's Boku threatening him. He's saying, this 9-year-old child, I'm gonna kick your ass for talking about this little girl.
Hey, it was the 70s.
I know.
I mean, think about magic carpet ride, that sort of stuff.
Oof. Yeah.
Know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Why don't you come with me, little girl?
Yeah.
I just
Rolling Stone stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Aerosmith. Ugh. Anyway, okay, that's good to know that the earthquake just shook the car into the ocean, because I was like,
Yes.
why did this happen?
Now,
Sorry, I've been in that position too, where it's like, wait, what happened? What was all this? And it just is some anticlimactic thing that I didn't pay attention to, and I was like,
Oh
well,
man.
well, don't feel
Well,
stupid. It's okay.
There, I had a thread point, like a plot thread. I wasn't quite sure. Maybe you could clarify for me, right? The girl in the hospital, who,
Yeah.
spoiler alert, once again for those who have not played it, she's a ghost. She is a dead girl that you see, and she only appears during the late afternoons if you walk into the hospital room. Do we know anything else about her other than like I wasn't able to find any other information out about her.
Well, I think it becomes pretty clear that it's Grandpa's dead wife.
Is that who? That would make sense. But I guess because she was younger, I didn't know how old his wife was when she passed.
They were young.
You can attribute it to like magical thinking of cinema, like that's maybe his best memory of her was at her prime.
Yeah, like Anakin's ghost
Relative
at the end
prime.
of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a Force ghost, is what you're telling me, Ray?
Yeah,
It's a Force
yeah.
ghost
It's the
of
Boku Natsu
Grandpa's
version of a
wife.
Force ghost. Yes. Yeah.
That's wild. Because, like Josh said, I did not encounter the ghost girl at all. That was a completely. I thought you were kidding when you first said that. You're like, did you encounter the ghost girl? I was like, the what? What is this?
Well, it's not ghost as in, she looks like a blue apparition or something. It's just like a girl that shows up for a while and then disappears, and then it's pretty well established that it's Grandpa's dead one.
I had a offshoot of this. I think it was kind of disproven, or he says otherwise, but I had a theory for a while that he was his wife, and he also mentions his son dies as well, and I was like, they both died, and then he's depressed around this time, which is around Hiroshima, and I was like, were they bombed? And I was like, I mean, this 1975, if you go back when they were younger, like
Only 30 years prior would have been the bombing.
Yeah, and he's like 60, so they'd be like 30. But I think he says something that makes it clear that wasn't the case. But for a while, and I still don't know 100%. So I wonder if that's, what they were, because there's a lot of stuff in the TV and radio talking about the anniversary of it, and that's when he gets so depressed. Yeah. That's like, of course, it would be this time of year. If that's what it was.
I think that's strongly suggested, but I think it's still kind of open, so it's bit up to your interpretation. Yeah,
I love that he.
I really like. Oh, go ahead, Andrew.
I was gonna say, like, I love his the rawness and the honesty of the way that he mourns his wife, and how it ties with him getting older. Like, I remember it broke my heart when he said, the way she used to smile at me, I thought I would never forget her smile, and I fear the worst has come to pass. And I'm just like, oh my God, my heart. I'm getting chills.
Yeah.
Like, that's so heartbreaking. But
now you should go back and check out the girl at the hospital and have that enhanced for you. And
I know. I guess I just got to play it again.
The full impact of that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so. I like that the game's not afraid to go there. Like, because you wouldn't think a game that's just about a kid having a summer vacation would go anywhere near these levels, but they do, and it doesn't feel like, wow, okay, this feels like out of nowhere. It's like, yeah, this is like the human experience, like the good and the bad and the mundane, like just everything is all part of life.
Yeah, I mean, the first game has its moments of realness, but they really dial it in on the second one with these couple of storylines.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not comparing this to not to compare it to this, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Mr. Rogers, in the sense that Mr. Rogers wouldn't talk down to kids, that he would cover sensitive topics and sensitive issues. This game isn't necessarily there to teach you about, like life lessons and stuff like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was, but it is kind of getting that whole sense of childhood where, like, just because you're a kid and there is happy-go-lucky life, because you don't have the world, the stresses of the world on you just yet, there are still moments where that part of the world creeps in, and you're gonna experience small little snippets of it, whether it's death or as we see with Taniguchi, a fucking like a thief or whatever who hid gold away, or even the stuff with like with Yo and his dad, Wolfman or whatever, and the fact that like there's this weird relationship between them where it's like like his dad is kind of like he seems kind of like a rough and tumble type of thing, and Yo is this like quiet, reserved scientist kid, and that whole relationship just baffles me. It's like he is literally right up the mountain, and he won't come down to see his kid. Like it shouldn't be on Yo to like go 40 minutes. I know it was ragging on Yo that he couldn't walk like the 40 minutes up to the mountain, but god damn it, just because you're making
Yeah.
charcoal in a cabin, you're his dad.
Yeah, that's more on
Go
you.
down the goddamn
It's a
mountain.
two-way street.
Yeah, and it's arguably more the parents' responsibility at that point.
Right.
But what you said about how they treat, like, where the story goes and stuff, like I think I know you mentioned visually, like Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli. My girlfriend and I rewatched Boy and the Heron recently, and something that she pointed out, she was like, I love the way that Ghibli movies treat children. Like it never really feels like they're talking down to them, or they don't feel incapable because they're kids. Like the kids for the most part are really independent, and when the adults are talking to them, they don't talk down to them. And I think that might just be a Western Eastern thing, because there's a whole Netflix show about little Japanese kids who are like 4 years old going on errands for the first time by themselves, and which, obviously that goes to like how safe Japan is versus here, but like I think they just treat children differently. I think they just give them a little more credit than I think we do here.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's big in Asian cultures. There's a real reverence for children and the elderly as well. But
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, just treat it a lot better.
Yeah.
Whereas here, we'll defund PBS.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, I need to use this to say, oh my God. Do you guys know Michael the Librarian?
Yeah, he's the new host of Reading Rainbow.
That's the only thing I wanted. When I first saw him, was like, this guy needs to do Reading Rainbow, and now he is, and the world healed a little bit.
You can watch it on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
You can watch the first episode. I actually watched it with my daughter. It was fun.
Nice. Because there's no PBS.
Well, I mean, there still is,
Well,
but it's that's a whole other thing. But yes, support your local PBS station, kids.
Yeah.
Subscribe to whatever you can to like give them some money.
Yeah.
Go support public broadcasting and your local
Go
library.
to the library, yeah. I have a book checked out from the library right now.
Exactly. And actually, I have like 3 from my daughter, and actually the book series I have been reading, which I've talked about on Talk Tuesday before, the Wheel of Time books, started by borrowing them from the library.
Nice.
Anyway, Ray, there was something I believe you were going to say before Andrew jumped in. Do you remember what that was, or I can just move off and we can move on?
It's fine.
I'm so sorry.
All right, cool.
No, it's cool. I have a larger point to make
That's
anyway.
right, throwing you under the bus, Andrew. We are getting close to, because I'm looking at the time on my end. I'm probably going to have to start wrapping up soon. For it's my turn to take my kid, put my kid down for bed tonight. So I want to start wrapping up this episode. Is there any thoughts, or is there any other story beats that you want to talk about before we kind of go into the final thoughts for the episode?
I want to say in general, and this is a thing I've been meaning to write about for the second part of my thing on Medium, but like there's a real sense of loss throughout this whole story, and all the characters experience some form of loss.
Yeah.
And I just don't mean like loved ones or anything. It could be like the lost gold, right?
Yeah.
But there is points of loss everywhere, like the loss of the relationship between Yasuko and Yo's parents. Like they both have problems with their parents. There is of course the grandpa storyline, the gold, and then the sense I think Taniguchi was keeping the gold for his family
His
or
sick
something
mom.
like that. It was something family related thing for that. And like even Boku's uncle, there's like a little conversation where he sort of laments like his career or something like that. Like
Yeah.
he wanted to be something else. And so
Yeah.
there's like this really purveying sense of loss throughout this whole game, and it's really, really like evident when you are an adult and you are playing this game, which is supposed to be meant for you, the adult going through this nostalgic thing. And then having little 9-year-old Boku kind of like respond with nothing most of the time, because he is kind of this avatar in a sense, and he is, understandably a kind of ignorant kid, so that's fine. But it really hits home once you are an adult and playing this game and you sort of like figure out all of these little story secrets and what people are trying to say and what the real meaning behind what is going on is that you couldn't get if you were actually 9 years old, I think. And so it's really interesting. It is a richer dimension in storytelling, I think, than in the first game, which again just has a few moments of realness. And Boku's a little less of an avatar in that. He's a little more of a character. And so that's like the real delineation, the real delineation for me between those two games, story-wise.
And something you say that right, it makes me think of a few things. One, you're 100% right with the loss thing. I also think it talks about, it also kind of feels like loss and change, because if you look at
Yes.
Yasuko and Yo, the first part of that is them lamenting the loss of their friendship, because Yasuko went off to school and Yo stayed on the island, and but they rekindle it. And also, same with your uncle, he's lamenting the loss of his career, but at some point he talks about how he's considering going back and doing it again. So it kind of gives a little bit of a hopeful thing too, where just because something's different now and it's changed doesn't mean it can't be good again, or it'll be different, but it could still be good too. And also, just talking about like what you said, Ray, about how you kind of experience these things as an adult, and Boku offers really nothing. Not saying that's a bad thing, but it's like it's
relatively.
just he's a 9-year-old kid. Like what can he do? I talked about this on my episode on Greece, the game Greece, a few weeks ago with Emily and Kate from No Small Games podcast, and one of the things that that people talk about in video games, especially like think of like platformers and stuff like that, where the games give you a safe space to try and fail, and it's usually something of technical skill. You're Mario and you're jumping over a platform and you miss the ledge and you fall into the pit and die, and you can start over again. It gives you a safe place to fail that technical challenge, and so that way you maybe won't be as discouraged, and hopefully you can translate that into real life, and you won't be as discouraged when you fail and have to start again, type of thing. Greece does this, but I think this game does it even better. It gives you a safe place to practice your emotions and fail at them. Like this game kind of gives you an area where it's like you're seeing all these different things happening to other people and kind of living almost a little bit vicariously through these characters and their senses of loss. It gives you a safe place for you to experience a type of loss, even though it's minor, and then learn how to work through it. It's not like you can start over, that's not how emotions work, but learning to process it in a sense. And I don't think this game is necessarily, explicitly doing that. I don't think that was necessarily an intention, because it's kind of going with, childhood nostalgia. But I could totally see like watching these characters go through their emotional beats and parts of their storylines and like experiencing these things that happen to them. It kind of gives you as the player a little bit of a way to experience those emotions via proximity or vicariously, or however you want to describe it, and gives you a safe place to kind of have a sense of what those emotions are, and allows you to process it through the lens of a game. And then hopefully, God forbid, something bad happens to you in real life, you have some type of a toolkit maybe to help with that. I know I'm probably reading way more into this than needs to be, but it was just making me think of that.
I think to add to that, it feels like what it's trying to say a lot is it's okay to have these bad emotions. Like when Yasuko, when her mom leaves the key and you finally find out, we talked about this on our episode, Josh, but like when you finally find out, you open that door and you're expecting some like Attack on Titan level reveal where like, this is what was in the basement the whole time. And it's just nothing. It's just the next room. And she just goes, I don't even think she says anything. She just walks outside and sits in the road, just like hugging herself. And it's just like, oh my God, like you were looking for something to attach to in this uncertain time of your life. Your parents are, well, one of them's dead. It's a very tumultuous relationship with the other one, and she just wanted something to get her out of that. And I think the game was trying to tell you, like, sometimes you just have to get there on your own. You have to find your own way through, and that's okay. Like, just experiencing this loss and this change, which one of the things the most valuable things one of my therapists ever told me was that all change is loss. Whether, even if it's good, you're still losing something. You're still losing what you knew previously. And you can grieve that even if it is a change for the better. Like, there is a grief there, even if it is like a positive, a net positive. And I love that it lets, again, with like the it's not afraid to go to heavy places, but it's also not saying like, don't be sad, just get over it. It's like, this is all part of experiencing life, on the uncertainty and the loss and change. And even like the boatman, like pedophile ass boatman was like, he's dealing with his family issues too. He's like, I can't really go. Boku's like, where's your family? And he's like, I can't talk to them. And Boku's like, why not? And he's like, it's complicated. And it's like, yeah, there's loss there too. He's you don't find out what happens, but probably they kicked him out for trying to diddle kids. But like,
well, not to mention he has a crush on the nurse who goes for Simon.
Right.
So he loses out his chance there.
That's right. He's like, well, if I can't get with the little kid, I guess I'll get with the next oldest girl on the island.
He's just horny. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I liked Simon and is it Nagisa, the nurse?
Yeah.
Simon's
Nagisa,
I thought they did a great job in specifically the fan translation of his text being in a slightly different font, like to kind of get through. Like, he speaks with an accent in the Japanese, like he's very like, Simon wa Hiroshi desu.
It's like a Canadian guy.
Yeah.
Canadian voice actor.
But then like even the text changes to show that like this is just a little bit off. I actually thought he was the one who stole the gold in the beginning.
Because that's the other thing though, is that there's all this loss going around, but then there's Simon, who's the happy-go-lucky guy, and he just loves being here. Yeah. He loves everybody. Yeah. He's gonna stay here. It's just like,
he just wants to take photos of this island for the rest of his life.
Yeah. He's the shining light in the story. I guess.
He's us telling you, life will be better if you just leave Western culture and go to Japan.
Yeah.
No, that's just me. That's what I'm trying to do.
All right, I think we should start wrapping up this episode. We are running short on time.
Yes.
So let's kind of go into our final thoughts then. Just what are our takeaways from this? I feel like we actually kind of gave some good final thoughts on the thematic stuff, but I guess as our final thoughts, let's do this. As our final thoughts, why should people who have not played this game or this series, but this game, at least specifically this game, why should they play it? And Andrew, we'll start off with you. Why should people play this game?
No pressure. I would say, aside from like everything I just said about how the look into experiencing life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the mundane. I think that's the crux of it for me. You should play this if you want a game that is as much or as little as you want it to be, or if you want, I mean, there's the deep, I'm looking for a really deep answer, but there's the deep answers and there's the shallow answers, which is just, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to just run around as a carefree little kid and catch bugs and do sumo wrestling with the bugs.
I think we got the deep answers on already with our, with our conversation on the themes and story. I think not trying to say you don't have to say that, but like, I feel like anyone who's listened up to this point, like the stuff we've been talking about, like there's a lot to read into this if you want to, of course. Like you don't, and once again, lending to your point, Andrew, you can put or as little or as much of yourself and read as much or as little into this as you want to. That's what's kind of cool about it. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's okay. Though that's kind of why I pivoted, because I realized I was talking about all the deep stuff that we have already dove deep down into. But like on the surface level, it's just a really fun romp through a really interesting, hyper specific look at Japanese culture and family dynamics, and even just like how this one being surrounded by the ocean, like you really see how cultures that live on or near water, like on the sea, like how ingrained the ocean is to their everyday life. Like they just talk about like, oh, go catch a fish and then I'll cook it for dinner, or like the whole having to ferry across to different islands when you want to go do something. Like I can't even fathom that. So just a really cool look, like a hyper like magnifying glass on magnifying glass on magnifying glass look at a very specific time period and a very specific culture. And it just being like, you're a kid, have fun, go explore, go do whatever you want to do. That's why you should play this game.
All right, Ray, what about you? Why should people play Boku no Natsuyasumi 2 or just the series in general?
It's a good question. Um, I think, in my role as like the first, I guess, super fan of it, like my intent has always just been to get people to check it out and maybe not always attach an explanation behind that. And it's a good question. Like, why? Because now we can get a wealth of indie games that are similarly beautiful and soft and have a story focus to them, or are just good adventure games. And where do we find the difference? Well, I think in a practical sense, it's just a very, like we already said, a Japanese centered kind of thing that isn't covered a lot in a lot of games. We get different parts of Japanese culture highlighted pretty well in rich games, like, for example, Like a Dragon, but that's a different type of tone entirely. And we get uh, all sorts of other I was thinking for some reason rhythm games and like J-pop type stuff, but so there's many different facets that we can explore in that sense. But to get that kind of sort of exploration of a Japanese nostalgia, but also like a special sort of scenic presentation is just, I think, a little bit rare still, other than, in the other games that came after this from the same creator. And so if you want that kind of thing, in a sense, if you want something a bit more realistically depicted than something like that indie game Dordogne, which was like the watercolor style French game about the girl and her grandma and everything. And it's a little bit abstracted, I think. It's not like, it's not very entirely realistic. And there's other games that look like Bokunatsu and are adventure games, but they still have a fantasy element to it. And there's not a whole lot of realism to it. This is a bit more grounded in reality, aside from maybe the ghost wife and such. But you just get an experience that for the time was definitely unique. Like, this is one of the greatest examples of like the uniqueness of the Sony computer entertainment au revoir, or whatever you want to call it, of back in the day. And now it is still kind of unique. It is still something that isn't completely replicated yet, I would say, in today's market. So.
I think you touched on it. I don't remember if it was off mic, right, or maybe it was on mic, but there hasn't really been any copycats of this. I think we talked about it off mic. I don't remember when.
Yeah, we did. And so, this specific format, there's not a whole lot of ripoffs other than the games that the creators already made that are very similar. So, that kind of specific adventure game format I'm thinking of. Fully done. Yeah.
For myself, as to why people should play it and just kind of overall final thoughts, it's just... if you like cozy games, you'll like this, but it's a very different type of cozy game. Most cozy games now, as we said off mic, actually, it's all farming sims and stuff like that. I love me some Stardew Valley, but it is a farming sim with a lot of other elements. There's some combat in that. But anyway, this game, I think just what's so interesting to me about it is it's unabashedly Japanese in the best possible ways. Like it's not trying to... obviously it stayed in Japan. It wasn't trying to appeal to Western audiences. It's meant for Japanese audiences, and I think that's what gives it such a unique flavor for us here in North America, because we're not used to that. And so it's like fucking I had no idea that in Japan that women get a whole month off after they have a kid, just so that way they can like bond with the child and be away, like literally just to like they send their other kids away so they can have quiet time with their new child, and the whole family comes in. From my understanding, I apologize if any of this is wrong, but like like maybe her mom would come in and help take care of her as well as she recovers from. I mean, childbirth is a major surgery is not the right term. It can be depending on how the birth happens, but a major medical event. So like it takes a long time to recover from that, and so that's so different than than what we're used to here in North America. Like hearing stuff like that, I'm like, what? This happens? Like I learned that from this game, even though that wasn't necessarily explicitly stated. I was just googling. I was like, why the fuck is Boku going away to his aunt and uncles when his brother's born or whose new sibling is born? Like what's going on here? And that's why. So I love that because it's a slice of life experience, and it's truly a slice of life experience. It kind of reminds me a little bit, that moniker that Seinfeld always had, like it's the show about nothing, and that's what. But there's always little like storyline beats in Seinfeld as well. It kind of reminds me of like childhood nostalgia version of that. Like it's a game where like there's some really great storylines as we discussed, but it's not necessarily always on the forefront. It's like kind of there for you to explore and figure it out and enjoy this experience and kind of take in this world and this adventure as you like at whatever pace you want. I do highly recommend doing the one day in game for one day out of game stuff, just because it's a fun way to spend August, specifically to play it over August. Like honestly, I could picture doing it every year, like just because you can experience different things and like you can get different story beats that maybe you missed, ones that we didn't even talk about in the conversation. Like there's lots of cool things you can do with that. I will include links in the show notes as to where the fan translation is found. Finding a ROM of that, I will not, because I'm pretty sure I would get in trouble for that. One and two, it's actually really hard to find a ROM of this. I found like I found like ROMs for. I went to a handful of. I totally didn't go to a handful of different sites, and it took me a while to find one that was in the correct format. But that's besides the point. The actual fan translation is really easy to use, and they have great instructions. So I will include a link to that in the show notes. But yeah, let's wrap up this episode, y'all. That's all the time I have for you on this episode. Is still loading. I thank you all so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Now I want to throw it over to my guests over here. Where can the good people find you all online? Is there anything you'd like to promote? Andrew, we will start off with you. What do you got?
I was going to suggest starting with Ray, because then I could do my little outro afterwards.
Okay,
That's part
Ray,
of mine.
starting off with you, where can the good people find
good.
you online? First time guest, where can the good people find you online? And is there anything you'd like to promote?
All right. Well, my homepage / link list is rdbaaa.space, rdbAAA.space. That's also my Blue Sky name. But yeah, you can find links to stuff I've written about this game and other things. I've scanned some merchandise on archive.org. You can find some related stuff there. And yeah, that's the main thing. But I also made a game recently called Blast Rush LS for Steam and Nintendo Switch. It is a infinite bomb shoot 'em up where you have infinite bombs instead of just 3 at a time. And you avoid bullet patterns, but the bullets are actually the enemies themselves. So you blow up a bunch of enemies in that way. And this is the enhanced console port of the old mobile version that I made before that. So check that out. Once again, it's on Steam and Switch. And that's from my company, Bipedal Dog. And the website there is bipedal.dog. Get a load of that. And finally, I guess my podcast, No More Whoppers, we set up a kind of network now because we have a sister show called Draw Game, where we review video game-based anime shows and things like that. And so that's at nomorewhoppers.com. That's another list of links you can look at there. Thank you very much.
Have you covered Zillion at all yet? I guess the game came after the anime.
It's still, no, it has to be directly based on a game, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
we're early yet. We've only done a few eps.
Okay, I covered Zillion on the pod last year, and that was an experience. But all right, Andrew, over to you. Where can the good people find you online, and what would you like to promote?
Well, I will push this off 1 second further, and I will have to say I cannot stress enough, Ray. You must watch, specifically the dub of Psychic Force, based off of the Dreamcast one. It is kind of like The Room of animes. It's so bad, it's good.
Yeah,
and the game.
I'll tell you what, I will. I think that's on our list. I made a master list of all the game anime, and because it's an audio podcast, we do we watch the dubs, and it's more entertaining, of course.
Excellent. Well, I will eagerly look for that. I have a hard copy of the DVD. Happy to send it to you. It's also like play Psychic Force 2012 on Dreamcast. It's fucking rad.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, finally, Josh, yes, I can be found anywhere that internet is. I'm at the Experience Point, TheExppPoint. That's I guess I'm mostly active on Twitch, Instagram, and trying to do the TikTok thing, sometimes the YouTube thing, mostly Twitch. Come by one of my Twitch streams sometimes. I stream Monday through Thursdays, usually starting at 8:30 Eastern to however long I can stay awake. And yeah, nothing really to pitch. I am about to fully reveal. I have started revealing the official mascot of the Experience Point. So stay tuned for him to surface from the murky deep. I worked with a really cool artist because fuck AI art. And I guess I will say I'll just do my little outros for my stuff, which is thank you guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. And I usually go with a recommendation, but I will say, what was the name of your game again, Ray? The Infinite Bombs?
Blast Rush LS.
Play Blast Rush LS. Do it now.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
You're not ending the stream, are you, Andrew?
It's over. We're gone. No, I'm just kidding. Not
I
yet.
was going to say, I still have to do my plugs. Just
No, I know.
What's going on here? All right. For myself, you can follow me on Blue Sky at stillloadingpodcast.com, on Instagram at stillloadingpod, on Facebook technically at stillloadingpod, though it's just a copy of Instagram. You can also find me on Twitch as well at stillloadingpod over there, where I stream whenever the hell I'm able to, depending on my schedule and life events and all that other stuff. So that's the places you can find me on social media. If you like the podcast and you want to support it and you want to hear more episodes like this and with more amazing guests, please consider supporting the show by giving it a 5-star rating or review on whichever podcasting app you use. It helps more people find the show, and it pleases the algorithm gods, or so I'm told. That's something easy to do, and it's free to do. Just helps me out a ton. If you really like the show, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/stillloadingpod. For as little as $1 a month, you get all the episodes earlier with better audio quality, along with patron voting rights, which help guide the direction of the show. I think a poll will have ended by the time this episode comes out, but coming up in January is my annual backlog month poll, where 16 games go in and only 4 come out, and you're going to help me pick 4 games off my backlog to see what the hell I cover on the show. So that's all for only $1 a month. For $3 a month, you get all the previous tiers plus patron shoutouts, which you heard at the beginning of this episode. For $4 a month, you get all the previous stuff plus 2 mini bonus episodes. And for $5 a month, the last tier, everything, all the previous years, plus access to my monthly movie podcast, which the time this comes out, this will be out in November. The first episode of Still Muppeting, my look into all the Muppet movies, will have come out at the $5 tier. I am going to be joined by my buddy Doug Leaf from the Nostalgia Marcanum podcast. He's going to be joining me for all of those episodes. We are diving into every single Muppet movie, as well as Labyrinth and Dark Crystal and all that good stuff. So tons of content coming your way. And if you want to see the backlog, we've done all the Fast and Furious movies, Still Family. That was the name of that show. And then we did all the James Bond movies, Still Bonding. Some always stupid, still fucking pun. And this one happens to be Still Muppeting. So that is all over at patreon.com/stillloadingpod. And that's it. That is all the time I have for you on this episode. Thank you once again for listening. Andrew, Ray, thank you once again for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining me.
And with all that said, listeners, I will see you all next time. And we can stop recording our local stuff now. And Andrew, I don't know how you want to wrap up the stream, but yeah, we're good with the local recording now.
Yeah, I did my little spiel. I might do it again when we finally end, but I had a quick follow-up question, Josh. Do you consider any Jim Henson movie to be Muppet worthy to cover on your show?
There's actually there's one we're covering that's not Muppet related and not like puppet related. Hold on, I gotta find the email again. It's a movie that Jim Henson directed.
Is it Mirror Mask?
That I cannot.
By chance.
I don't know. Hold on.
man.
I'm going to my buddy Doug sent me a full list, and he does does a lot of good Muppet impressions, and he recorded a theme song which is literally just Master of Puppets but sung by the Muppets.
That's great.
And it's fucking great, and I'm really I can't wait for everyone to hear that intro. I cannot fucking find. Oh, here it is. It's Follow That Bird is what he has there.
Okay.
Let me see.
Anytime anyone brings up Jim
Yeah.
Henson, I'm always like, you guys should watch Mirror Mask because it is very underrated. Anyway,
I will have to see if we can add it in. But yeah, so
I won't keep you guys any further. Thanks for joining us, Ray.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the invite. I'm glad I could make it happen.
Yeah. Thank you, Josh. As always, I said it before. I'll say it again. Thank you, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Go to therapy and watch the anime terrible dub OVA of Psychic Force and play the game because it's actually good. Farewell.
Bye.